All right. This week, more 2.5 Weebs. I'm sick of naming the episode because I don't remember. It's like something. It's an episode. Hi. This week, we're joined as always.
Figure it out and comment on YouTube. Here.
We're joined this week as always by Copper and Comfy. Hi, guys.
As always.
Hello.
As always. As
Okay.
always, yes.
I mean, technically you are correct.
That's why I said it.
Mm.
So, this week we were watching Parasyte. What is the... There's Parasyte : some shit.
This was Parasyte
Maxim.
Yeah, that. So, it starts where this kid wakes up in the morning talking with his parents about finding some snake or something from the night before. And then, like, some weird things start happening
his right
to him.
Arm is tired. His right arm
Yeah.
is numb, and you
Yeah.
know what's going on, and
All that fun stuff. And so throughout the day he like flashes back to like in the middle of the night some like alien worm thing basically tried to crawl in his nose.
Well, it tried crawling in his. It first tried crawling in his ear. But
Was it his ear?
was
Okay, I
blocked
wasn't sure
by
if his ear or
headphones.
nose.
Then it tried going up his nose, and that woke him up. So he sneezed and it fell out onto the bed. And that's when he tried hitting it because he thought it was a bug, and this guy has a phobia of bugs. And then it burrowed into his hand and started burrowing up his arm. So he tied off his arm using his headphone cords.
He basically was that a tourniquet? Is that a tourniquet?
yeah.
He
basically.
put a tourniquet on his arm to stop the bug from crawling further up his arm. And basically what happened is this like alien bug thing matured in his arms. It was trying to get to his brain because that's what they do. They get into your brain, they take over and kill you basically, and they just take over your body. Yep. And they have like weird alien tentacle knife powers as is per usual with anime.
I love the tentacles.
So yeah, he ends up
Basically, yeah.
losing control of his hand, and he doesn't realize what's going on at first. But his hand starts behaving differently than what he wants. Like it just does its own thing from time to time. He's like, "The fuck."
He grabbed a boob.
It did grab a boob of a girl that he has a crush on, and he was like,
That
"Oh
didn't go over too
no."
well.
Because of course,
Yes.
of course, you had to grab the boob. That's how anime works.
Of course. it's
Accidental boob grab is like every single anime ever. Maybe not, but you know, there's a lot.
And then he got caught using his phone in class when he thought his phone was turned off and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what else. That was pretty much it. And then he started noticing like, oh, then he was walking home from school and he was all like tired and shit, not knowing what's going on. And there was a little girl about to get hit by a car, and
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
his hand completely stopped the car and saved the little girl's life. And then he looked at his hand and it was all like metal with claws coming out, and there was an eye on the back of it. And then the eye just shriveled up and disappeared. That was the thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
He immediately runs home, like rushes home, because he doesn't
Right.
know what's going on, and he locks himself in his bedroom, and he's like, what was the reasoning? He tried to stab his hand.
He was like, I don't think you're my real hand. If you are my real hand, you won't move. Because he hasn't been able to control his hand all day. It's been just weird.
Right.
So he's like, if you are my real hand, I will be able to stab you right now. And then right before he does it, an eye opens up on his hand. And he's like, okay, what the fuck?
And then he starts having a
then-
conversation with his own hand, which, as you find out, isn't his hand anymore. The alien creature thing basically ate his whole hand,
Yes.
and now just is his arm, and they've become, what do you call it? What kind of like a?
Symbiotic.
That's it. Yes, symbiotic relationship with this like arm monster thing.
Basically, the hand is like, listen, all right, here's the deal. I was trying to take over your head, but I fucked up. Now, you can cut off your arm and lose your arm, or we can just like hang out together and be friends and not try to murder each other.
Yeah.
And I think we should just not murder each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he also threatened him. Like, it wasn't more of like if he tried to cut off his arm, he would basically kill him before he could, essentially.
Yeah. Because, you know, it is a superpowered tentacle, whatever. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's definitely an alien. It's got to be an alien. I don't know. We didn't find out.
Very alien.
Seems very alien.
A whole lot.
Especially because I think in episode 2, it does almost like a weird flashback where it shows him coming down from the sky along with a bunch of other green glowing, almost like spores that come down from the sky that hatch these bugs. Yeah, it seemed very alien.
They allude to alien a whole lot, but they never
for sure
explicitly state it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, pretty much that. Trying to think. So that's pretty much the end of the first episode. Like nothing really happens there other than that. Copper, are we missing anything important?
Nope, I would say we aren't.
All right. Oh no, we are. We're all idiots.
Oh.
Isn't the dog in the first episode?
No.
Yes.
Wait.
Yes, the dog is the first episode because the second episode has.
The second episode is the first human, and the third episode
is the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
So
gotcher.
After him and his hand come to like this understanding, sort of.
Did they come to an underhanding by chance?
Can you hear when people leave your Discord call? Because this would be way funnier if you could hear it.
Yeah. No, I can't. Anyway,
So basically, they come to an underhanding. Fuck you.
I win.
And so listen. It's a good pun, and that's why I'm upset. You know I love good puns, all right?
I know.
If they don't make you upset, they're not good enough. That was well done. Congratulations. I'm very proud.
We thrive on shitty puns together. It's our superpower.
Man, we have terrible superpowers. So they come to an underhanding, and they're walking around, and then the hand, who doesn't have a name at this time, does he give it a name at this point?
Yes. I forget what it is. It basically equals right.
Yeah.
Because it's his right hand, and this rope, this alien's like, the fuck's a name? Because they don't understand the concept of names.
I don't care for names. That's just stupid to me. He's like, well, I don't want to keep calling you you. It's like, cool, call me right. So
yeah, whatever. Was it Mimi? Miri? Is it Miri? Miri sounds kind of right.
It seems right. Okay, well, so he's talking to his hand, and his hand is like, hey, wait a second. There's another one of me somewhere. He's like, wait, what are you talking about? I'm not smart, but I can sense when there's other versions of me, like other things like me.
Yeah.
And I want to go talk to it, figure it out. We got to figure out what it is. And this will be beneficial to you as well, because you'll know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he is obviously like, I don't want to do that shit. That sounds stupid. I'm going to die. So the right hand obviously forces him to do it because it's the right hand with tentacle alien powers and can do that shit.
Yeah, basically I'll kill you.
Yes.
And then the right hand forces him to do it with his right hand alien powers. And then they go and they basically see a dog eating another dog.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog looks at him and he's like, okay.
You failed
so you
too.
You also failed.
You also failed it. Like taking over a human being, basically.
Yeah. Basically, they were trying to both take over the brain, and this dude accidentally got a dog instead because he's a stupid idiot.
Yeah, he landed closest to a dog, so he absorbed a dog instead of a normal person.
Yeah, and they they don't really seem to have any memory of their lives as the little parasite things.
Yeah, the like
which is
basic.
interesting.
They were kind of like little larva, basically.
Yeah, larva's a good word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because they hatch from an egg, like a little egg that floats down. They look like that, and they try to inhabit a host immediately afterwards.
Yeah. And so they
Yeah.
were trying to. They failed, and then the hand is like, "All right, we're running, we're leaving. I don't want to be here anymore."
Basically.
Why do you want to leave all of a sudden? I thought you wanted to talk to him. Well, I can sense that he wants to kill us now.
Yeah.
So, which becomes a useful skill later on. Like, I think he wants us to die, so I don't want to do that. So we're leaving.
Yeah.
The dog, because it has a shape-shifting head, as all of these alien inhabited creatures do,
Mhm.
people, things, whatever. The dog, obviously, as all dogs do, spouts wings and starts flying around out of its head.
It's kind of
Uh,
fucked up and terrifying.
kind of terrifying.
It's a
it
little
starts
corgi, by the
chasing
way. It's
down-
not like it's some like
Scary dog. It's a
big
corgi,
scary
yeah.
dog. It's a corgi, but it's like possessed by an alien tentacle monster.
That's my fetish, actually.
Is it? Okay, good.
Tentacle corgis, yeah.
So, what is
uh,
that? What is that? Is that like a furry, but instead of it's some weird
I don't know.
hybrid
It's more
from
slimy, in my opinion.
yeah, huh? So it's like a furry
Uh,
calamari thing. Is that what's going on? Anyway, all right, moving
Oh,
on.
furry?
All right. So they retreat to a park, and then the hand's like, "This is a good place to fight." He's like, "What do you mean, fight? We're running." It's like, "Well, we have to fight now." And then the hand like rips the heart out of the dog,
Yep.
Yeah, literally just.
rips the heart
Kills
right
the
out,
host.
and then they both die.
Yeah, it kills the host, kills that thing. It's not supposed to be a giant like. Here's a big fight scene. It's
Right.
Yeah.
here's what happens kind of thing, right?
And basically, it was like, yeah, he took over a dog instead of a human, so he's kind of weak as fuck. No big deal. We killed it.
Yeah.
So then
And
the kid
so-
washes off his dog blood hand and goes to does he go to school?
Yeah, he goes to school.
Does he go to school?
afterwards.
You know, as you would normally.
Yeah, you just killed a dog in a playground with an alien hand. You might as well go to school afterwards.
Sure.
Normal
Not
Tuesday night.
probably not at all traumatized by any of it.
I mean, would you be traumatized?
Probably a lot.
Weak.
Eh. Look, I like dogs.
I do too.
Yeah.
I
I'd
don't
feel
like
bad.
aliens though.
All right. Either way, what does he do at school? What happens?
He's a
Nothing.
pro volleyball player, or no, pro basketball player.
Yeah, nothing super happens. He makes
That-
up.
This is the next episode, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just kind of goes right into him being at school.
Yeah.
So at school, he makes up with the girl he knows, his friend.
The one who we grabbed the boob. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry I grabbed the boob. And she's like, okay.
He's
no
like,
big
don't
deal.
ever do it again. He's
first
like,
he
I
shoots
won't.
a 3-pointer, right? And then
Yeah,
and then his friend, who's a girl who's not the friend that he wants to date, is like, hey, that girl whose boob you grabbed says that she'll forgive you if you get another 3-pointer. And then he does it right as the clock runs out because he's the best.
Well, he just kind of throws the ball and it goes in thanks to Miki, which is what he's named his hand,
Miki's, there you go. Sorry.
which is the Japanese word for right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We were close.
Yeah.
Interesting note in the publication, because this is from a manga, in the English, like when it was brought over, because the images were flipped because of how things work.
Oh, that's funny.
What happens is that he ends up being called Lefty in the English version.
That's hilarious. But yeah, so
Huh.
the hand sinks it, and then the dude and the chick are in a room all by themselves. He's like, "Listen, please, like, forgive me. I swear I did not mean to grab your boob. Like, of all the things I meant to do, that was not one of them. Please." And she was like, "Well, if you give me some pancakes, I'll forgive you."
Yeah, it's like basically says if you take me out on a date, I'll forgive you. He's like, okay.
He's like, hell yeah.
Yeah,
And then
that's such a
his
good way to get a
classmate-
girlfriend.
His other classmate confronts him and is like, hey, you know I like you. What are you doing?
He's like, what? You do? How the fuck am I supposed to know that?
Yeah, the guy has like no idea.
Which, to be fair, like, I just want to point out, if that were me in that situation, I wouldn't even know if I liked the girl. Let's be real. Okay?
So he thinks that the guy is going after the girl he likes. He's like, come with me. Takes him out back, and he's like, fight me. He starts beating him up, and he's like, so the guy doesn't fight back. He's like, if I start fighting back or try to, Migi's gonna get involved. And he's probably gonna kill this idiot. He's like, I don't want that. So, but he's getting beat up, so Migi intervenes anyways and smashed the guy in the face.
Just straight up, like, the hand is being held behind his back.
Yeah.
And then the hand just extends up his back and punches the dude in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And the
sends
dude
him flying
obviously-
backward. Like
Yeah.
he's
just-
like, oh no, did he kill him? And the guy gets up, runs away. He's like, no, I didn't kill him. So
he's like, please don't kill him. He's like, I'm not trying to.
yeah,
Why would I want to do that?
he's like, that would blow my cover. We don't want that.
Exactly. Then
Then he is out.
and about.
Yeah, and finds out that me senses another one in his area. And in actuality, if you watch the crowd, there's actually two, because of, if you remember how this episode opens, it shows the one guy who is important in episode 3.
Yes.
Um,
He was like the
It
very
should-
first character.
yeah, so it shows him as the opening scene in this episode. He's actually in the crowd as well. So
Okay.
the guy that our main character ends up getting followed by and fighting, the other Parasyte,
Mm-hmm.
actually sensed this guy in the crowd and just happens to come across our guy because he's actually leaving the crowd on purpose. So he meets another Parasyte out, just kind of in the city. The guy follows him and he's like, hey. And he realizes really quickly that,
I see why you were running. It's because you're a fucking hand.
yeah, you're a hand, so I guess you're a failure. So I tell you what, why don't you leave the human there and come be my right arm instead? Cuts off
Yeah.
his own arm. It's like, look, I've made room for you. Because apparently that's possible.
Allegedly.
So yeah. And so the right hand is thinking about it, and he's like, here, I'll make the choice easier for you, and goes to kill his host, and that's when he actually goes and attacks the guy and kills him.
Straight up, just I love that all of the people who are using their heads, because so the parasites can only shapeshift one part of the body.
Yeah,
Of the body.
they can only shapeshift the tissue around where they basically matured at in the body. So
Exactly.
they go
So
for
if
the head so they
mature
have
in the
control.
head- yeah. If they mature in the head, they can shapeshift to the head, which means they can change their face, which is super cool and super hardcore, and they can also split up their head to do a bunch of damage and hurt people.
Yep.
But the thing that Migi can do is he has 5 different little arms that he can send out because he has fingers, which are kind of dope. And even just sending out 3 of those, he destroys anything that he comes in contact with. So,
Yep.
he kind of has an advantage in a lot of situations.
He does.
Also, being able to send the eyes out as like scouters.
Uh-huh.
So, literally just sends out 3 tentacles and slices the dude up, and is like, "Well, you tried to attack me, so I decided to kill you. See you, loser."
No. First off, he tries to convince.
We talked about that.
Did
yeah,
we?
he tries to convince him. It doesn't work.
Yeah, and he
'Cause
cuts
there's
off
no-
his arm and is like, "Hey, come over here." And then he's like, "I'll make your decision easier," and tries to attack the human host.
Oh, sorry.
So he's like,
No,
if I
I
kill
saw
your
that.
host, you'll have no choice.
Love you,
Right.
buddy.
Sorry. No, I'm tired.
Same.
Yeah. So he ends up killing the other guy, and what's the kid's name? I was like, did he just save me? And he's like, no, only because I didn't want to risk it because I don't want to die.
Like, I
So,
saved me, actually.
yeah.
He's like, I didn't save you for you. I saved
You for me.
you because you're
If
my
you
host. and
die, I die.
There's-
Yeah.
and he's like, there's no guarantee that guy was telling the truth.
Right.
Like he's very clear about the only thing I value is my
his own life.
ability to survive.
Mhm.
Yeah, he
are
flat out says it.
completely
He's like, I don't
disposable.
care about anything but
Yeah.
like my own life.
He
I
is a
don't value other
very
life forms.
no nonsense, no emotion being,
Hmm.
which is interesting considering like the situation that they're in. So, yeah, they're basically like, he's like, I can kill if I need to, but I am not going to like try to save you. I just need to make sure that I survive.
Yep.
And
He's like, I value you being alive because you being alive stops me from dying. He's like,
that's it.
but points out to him quite literally, he's like, however, you don't need to be able to see, talk, or hear. Like,
He's like, I am very clearly in charge of this relationship.
because
You need to understand that.
Because their main characters keep thinking about, I should go to the police. There's all these murders going on. They're being committed by the other parasites.
Mhm.
Nobody
Speak
knows about
murders.
you guys. I need to go talk to people. He's like, no.
Or you could not do that.
And then I won't have to kill you.
Also, Miki comes up with a lot of really good arguments not to. You will be a test subject. You will not
Yes.
live a good life. You will die. They will kill you. They will cut me off, and you will lose your arm.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good arguments to don't go to the police. And I'll be real, they made a lot of sense. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's like basically determined to try to fight him. So.
And then he's like, and the dude is just laying in bed, and he's like, "Man, he really tried to save my life today. Even if he only did it to save himself, he still tried to save me, and that's nice."
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the end of the second episode. Like nothing else really happens.
Mm-hmm. And then in episode 3, in the okay, next thing that happens is he goes to school and was it Miri or Mihi? Either way, whichever the hand monster is like, oh, there's another alien very close. And you end up discovering that the new high school teacher is
The new substitute math teacher.
was it a substitute? Okay. Anyway, she's an alien.
Yeah, because so like the previous teacher was in like a fatal car accident and was in the hospital, and
their previous teacher's been in an accident, and
so
as such they need a
long-term
sub.
substitute who is this random lady who just so happens to also be an alien, and he's the only person that knows. And Miki's like, "Don't make eye contact. Don't look at her. She's gonna know." And they fucking lock eyes because that's what happens. And all of the other students are like, "Damn, she's hot." And he's just like, "Please don't use those tentacles on me." So,
yeah, I mean,
then obviously she has to teach him at some point, and it gets a little weird. He gets a little spooked, and then she's like, "Hey, come to the student counseling office after class. I need to talk to you."
Yeah, and he's like, because they both know each other or what. And she's like, so
yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to kill you. Like, there's no reason for us to be enemies. I've never seen a specimen like you previously. However, I need to make sure that you're not going to do anything rash or stupid. It's like, I want to talk to you more. Come meet me after school at this, and gives them a location, which happens to be a hotel with a
restaurant in it.
That they're meeting at. So she doesn't show up alone. She shows up with Mr. A.
That dude that we've seen like 8 times but not really interacted with.
Yeah, he's another one of the aliens, and they tell him that she's pregnant. And nobody knows what she's pregnant with. I don't.
No, they do.
No, they do. So
it's a human? Okay.
Yeah, so
It
they
would be a
basically
human
say,
baby. Okay.
they're having a discussion that, you guys aren't human. I see you as inhuman monsters. She's like, well, me and Mr. A tried having sex, and as a result, I got pregnant. What do you think the baby is? And Migi's like a normal human. They're like, correct. It's just a normal human baby.
Which
So what does that actually make
makes sense,
us?
considering that like
They're just parasites, right? They're using the host body's reproductive organs, so of course it's still a
it's
human
still
host.
a host baby.
Um, so Mr. A, as they keep talking, about trying to figure out what they are and so on and so, he gets more and more agitated because he doesn't care. And he gets up and leaves. He's like, I'm leaving. I don't give a shit about this stuff. And as he's leaving, he's like, that guy is dangerous, meaning our main character. He's like, and you can kind of get the sense that he's gonna do something with the main character as far as he's concerned.
You can really get the sense he's going to do something to the main character.
Yeah, and so they get they reach kind of an impasse. Like, I'm not going to attack you. You don't attack us. You don't expose us. Everything will be fine. I just want to keep my persona as this teacher person going because it allows me to blend into society.
Uh-huh.
And Migi made a point of it was really impressive that not only did she know who her host was, but she was able to maintain that
Yes.
The
position
life.
in society, including the fact that she was teaching people. Because everybody that they've run into so far has been
Weird in some way or like completely inhuman.
yeah,
Um,
either in the way that they compose themselves or the way that they speak, just
Yeah.
or they just don't even have knowledge of the world and don't understand it.
Right.
So them having that, her having that knowledge and being able to put it to use and maintain a job, especially where she's teaching humans, where it
Yeah.
would be very, very easy to get found out, is really impressive.
Yeah.
So, and then, as is tradition, something goes wrong near the end of the episode.
Yep.
And Migi's like, "Hey, I sense another person here." He's like,
Yeah, near the end of the episode, it's like, I sense, the intent of us being attacked. And he's like, what? And it's Mr. A. Mr. A has decided to invade the school.
He wants to
Um,
come kill him.
Yep.
So Migi comes up with the plan of hiding amongst all of the school children until he basically attacks him and
as he slaughters all the children, I will get an open shot.
Yeah. He's
yes.
like, so we're just going to use these people as a meat shield. And as he's busy trying to kill them to get to you because he can't sense like where you're at here, we'll use the opportunity to kill him. He's like, I don't
like that plan. So he, of course, runs away from all of his school children and finds a nice secluded spot. And the episode ends on the cliffhanger of dude bursting through a window like, hey, we're going to fight now. And that's the end of episode 3.
Yeah.
Who watched 4? Did any of you guys watch 4?
Nah,
I didn't either.
I haven't watched 4. No.
I think I might at some point, honestly.
I probably am going to.
Yeah. I actually genuinely enjoyed the first 3 episodes of this. Like, I thought it was pretty neat. It's interesting. I will, at some point, like to watch a little bit more of it.
I think what sold it to me was the 3rd episode, actually, because there's enough shows about like, oh man, I'm a fucking bad guy, and it's like, oh, it's a battle anime, and we're fighting a different person each episode. But the 3rd episode is like, listen, I don't want to kill you. I just want to like figure shit out right now. Like they're trying to do world building, which is interesting to me. That's what I like.
Right.
So
I don't know.
that's about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it to people.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Something
if I can find
noticed,
some time.
So
Yeah.
the 2D animation was really, really good, but they had a lot of weird 3D CG for like just when there were people walking around.
Really?
Yeah, the backgrounds.
I didn't get.
Yeah, the backgrounds are can be a little odd, but
But like it was
Gotcha.
weird because the backgrounds were not good. But man,
the foreground animation is so good; it's really hard to focus on. You're probably not going to notice it.
It was really smooth.
Yeah, this is a really well animated anime. It's super smooth. It's super good. The voice acting is good. There isn't a lot of music in this one, unlike a lot of shows, because it is a psychological thriller horror type anime. There isn't a lot of like ambient music running around.
Uh-huh.
You say that, and I just now realized that it was like really like quiet.
Yeah.
What? No, they
It's-
had a lot of like insert random techno and shit, and I was like, what?
Yeah, only in like the fight scenes though.
I didn't. It seemed a little. I don't know. I didn't like that. That was the one thing that I didn't like about it. Kaylee pointed out, I was like, what's with the random fucking music? I was like, I don't know. Not
You
super
mean
into
you
it.
don't like EDM?
I mean,
You don't like
Eh?
EDM artists like Dead Mouse?
I'm sure it's fine. It just seemed how
Hopper,
to.
did you like
it,
that one?
Yeah, I like that one.
it seemed misplaced. I don't know. Maybe that's a me thing. I don't know.
Actually, me seeks. So
That's a Mr. Me Seeks to you, motherfucker.
that's Mr. Me seeks to you, you goddamn son of a bitch.
So yeah, I'd recommend it. It's neat.
I mean, it's an iffy recommend for me. I liked it more than I disliked it, but it's not something that I particularly would watch.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yeah, we'll see. How many other? There's some other shows where I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it, and then I just never do.
Yeah, this is.
Like, this
I
is
am
on that
also-
list of, like, if I'm out of things to watch, I'll watch it. But it's not something I'm gonna go out of my way to just like. I need to see what happens next. You know?
Also, I am very not full of extra time to watch TV anymore. So
Of course, no, yes.
yeah,
But you
Yeah,
know
it's-
what show we
this is,
did all watch this week?
Vinland
Saga?
Saga, which was like
This week was like the week of
fucking happened, and nothing happened.
well,
They were
until the
running.
end.
They were
This
running
is the week
from.
of cliffhangers.
Yeah,
This
they
is the
spent
week of
the entire
cliffhangers.
episode building it up. They were talking about how there are a lot of men that seem to think that Askeladd has lost his luck, and they're not super sure if they want to continue to
don't really
follow
like-
him.
I don't think he's gonna do anything good. They think he's kind of fucked.
So the very final
Well, I mean, pretty much. So all that really happens is they show the prince being super sad that Ragnar is dead.
Yep.
Him and Bjorn have a conversation about like, why are you following me? It's like, why do you trust me? He's like, because I've been with you for long enough. I know how you think. I trust you. I think you'll be fine. Like, all right, cool. I don't think there's a lot of the men that I don't think trust me right now, and I think they're gonna try to kill us. And I think they're gonna try to take the prince, and they're gonna try to go to Thorkel, and Thorkel's gonna kill them all anyways. So we need to survive and keep the prince with us.
right.
Then word comes during this conversation that Thorkel has found them and is very nearby. And he's just like, all right, well, everybody pack up. We're going, we're marching because we got to go or we are
Mhm.
screwed. And so they all pack up. They start heading, they all pack up and they start marching. Everybody starts getting irritated because they're like, man, Thorkel's going to kill us anyways. We should go just join him. And believe it or not, all the people that tried to join Thorkel just got fucking murdered because Thorkel wants a fight.
Yeah,
He's
there
very
was
not
there was a
looking for
handful that
wins,
stayed
he
behind
wants
at the
to fight
village.
People.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't care about people who are, too weak to not put up a fight. He's like,
Yeah.
so he just kills them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he literally, it's not in his personality to want to take on deserters. He wants a fight. So all of the people who are deserting are, guess what? Getting murdered. So they keep following. People keep getting mad. At one point, because this is like the first major story beat, they cross a bridge.
Yep.
And Askeladd tells his men, all right, everybody stop what you're doing. Go over there, cut down the bridge. It's like, why are we this, like, okay, I guess.
They're like,
And
they're like, oh, it's a bridge over a river. Makes good sense. Then they find out the river is like 2 feet deep.
it's not a deep river. It's something that you could walk through. And
Yeah,
so all
it's
the men
like
are
up to their
"Wait,
knees.
why the fuck are we doing this? This is stupid. There's
It's like
no
they're just
reason
gonna-
for us to do this. They're just gonna walk across it. Askeladd, being smarter than a fifth grader, actually has a plan though. And while cutting down the bridge, all of the men are like, hey, maybe we should stab him in the back. Maybe we shouldn't help him. Maybe we should screw him over. Obviously, he knows that. So he tells Bjorn and Thorfinn, he's like, all right, listen, Thorfinn, you take the prince, you get in that sled. Bjorn, you're going to drive the sled. If something bad happens, we fucking go. We bug out. Not like we don't stick around. We bitch out of here because they're going to try to take the prince.
Mm-hmm.
And then at this point, the bridge gets cut down, but also Thorkel shows up.
Yeah, at the same time.
Top of a hill, about I'd say like the 300, 400 feet away.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's not very far.
Couple football fields.
Oh, and then he chucks a spear and impales.
He straight up chucks a spear that entire distance and skewers four guys.
6, was it? Okay, 4.
No,
okay.
it's 3 or 4 guys. Yeah, it goes through.
3 were stuck with to the spear, and one of them had the spear just go straight through him. So it was pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the men are like, man, why the fuck would we do that? They're just going to cross the river anyways. We're fucked. We're going to die now. And Asgard's like, listen, if we march, they can't get their supplies across the bridge because there is no bridge. So they can chase us for one day and then they have to stop and get food, or they can stop chasing us right now and they have to get their stuff through the river. Either way, we get a day's head start. We need to go now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the men didn't take too kindly to that because they are not smarter than a 5th grader and decided, hey, you know what? We're going to attack Askeladd and Thorfinn and Bjorn and steal the prince. And that's about where it leaves off.
Yeah. So we're left in another cliffhanger. Like, not a lot technically goes on in this episode, but
it's a lot
of build up
showing I'm losing these men's faith, but I still have a plan and you guys need to trust me.
Right.
Which is good. And I was also thinking through this episode, a lot of times I was like, when Askeladd was introduced, I really wanted him to stick around for a while, but I didn't think he would be the main character of the show.
Like, have such a big role?
He's the main character at this point. Like, if we're real. It's Thorfinn's story, but Thorfinn's not the main character right now.
I wonder if I wouldn't be surprised if we get to see Thorfinn outlive a whole bunch of mentors.
If they continue the story like that, I'd love that. That'd be so cool.
Same. That'd be dope. I'd be in.
I think it'd be fine, either that or them tightly tying up the story at the end.
Sure.
Yeah, because we know something is going to happen here. Like, this is a very large build-up thing where Askeladd might die, right? Thorkel might catch up to them, murder them all, and take Thorfinn as under his wing type of thing. Like, it's
we don't know what's going to happen, which is what's interesting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, this week, unfortunately, not a lot to talk about because it is a whole lot of build-up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's exciting, and there's another episode out right now, and that's what Copper wants to be watching right now.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to watch this episode. It's right there. It's right there, Kofi.
I know, man. If only the intro was good.
I don't know.
They changed the intro again. Did you notice that?
They did? No.
I fast forwarded through it.
So I watched it on Amazon this morning.
Yes.
And the intro is different again.
Is it better?
Better than the last one? Yes. It's
not as good as the first one though, because the first one was a fucking banger.
And the whole fact that it's not a giant difficult to be better than what the first one, like the second one was.
Right.
The second one was such a disappointment. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was so sad. Like, holy crap. And it's bad when all of us agree that something is good and then all of us are disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm.
How does that happen? We don't agree on anything.
I mean, I feel like we do agree on some things. Sure.
Yeah. Sometimes.
We all agree that Anthem's a great game.
Oh man, do you want to talk about the Anthem news?
Wait, there was Anthem news? I didn't know there was. Oh, somebody
so
left again. Somebody else left the team.
The last person who is
Oh,
the
no.
head of live game development.
Yeah.
Left.
It's sad.
Anthem.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a time. So
Fun. Yeah, that game is. There's no way they save that game at this point.
Man, and it's so sad too, because
It was fun. It's fun. The gameplay is very fun.
The problem with Anthem wasn't that it wasn't a fun game. The problem was that the developing cycle was headed by a bunch of actual potatoes. Like, we make jokes that Dale's a potato all the time, but man, these dudes, holy crap. Listen, if you're ever interested in learning about bad dev cycles, there's a really good book. It's called Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. Destiny is one of the games that's actually featured in the forefront of it because Destiny had a very bad development cycle. Destiny 1, that is.
Mhm.
But so Anthem's dev cycle, if you learn about it, it has been 7 years of development. I think an hour before their first E3 presentation, they had to change the title.
Yes, I heard about that. It's terrible.
They had shirts printed and everything, and they had to change the title because they got the word back from BioWare that they couldn't get the IP or like the name. So,
did we know what the original name was supposed to be? Do we know?
Yeah, it was. I forget what it was. It was something super cheesy like Destiny.
Beyond.
According to Vlad, it was Beyond. Yeah.
No, that's 100% it. Thank you, Vlad. They were forced to use the Frostbite engine. It took them 4 years to get it into third person.
Yes, because that is the
and took flying out of the game 3 times.
Because that engine is not meant for
video
that
games.
engine does one thing well, and that's
video
first-person shooters. It does first-person shooters well.
Yeah, first-person shooters. That engine is great.
Love it.
Anything else, it is trash.
It's what it was designed for by DICE.
First-person
who makes
shooters.
Battlefield.
Battlefront and Battlefield are beautiful.
Yes.
And they run so well. It doesn't matter. Listen, Battlefront 2 was garbage when it came out. It's awesome now. Battlefield 5, I can't speak for, but people are loving War in the Pacific, which came out like last week as well. But like, Anthem was a mess.
Yes.
And then when the devs finally figured out where they were going, what they wanted, and how it was working, they transferred the game out of their studio.
Yeah.
Like, they literally, like, it was also, when you look at it in a big picture thing, it's like, oh, I mean, they had the game for 6 years and 8 months, and in the last 4 months of development, they moved it to another studio to get it finished. I mean, that makes sense. But when you look at it on like a micro scale, it's like, okay, they finally wrote out the roadmap and the plan in those last like 6 months before it was taken away from them, and we're making so much headway with the game, and then it was snatched away from them for the last 4 months of development to another studio that had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, and now most of that team has been shifted off to another project, and our live services guy is gone, and it's a
live services changed hands like 3 times.
It is
Cataclysms actually came out, and it was just a blue filter over the screen because they couldn't dev anything more than that. The entire roadmap was scrapped. They had a Halloween event that was a filter on top of the Cataclysm filter. It was bad. I did see my new favorite article on the internet, though.
Oh.
I want to find it really quick. Here
what was
it
it about?
It's from thehardtimes.net, which is a satirical website.
Okay, so it's like
news site. BioWare plans exciting Halloween event for persons still playing Anthem.
Yes, I think I saw parts of it.
I think you and me talked about.
Yes.
Things are about to get a bit spooky in the Nation of Bastion. We can't wait for our dedicated player to see what's in store.
And then they talked about how the one Fallout player was also going to do something or other. Gotcha.
First, whether Kenny is wandering through Fort Tarsus or flying through the dangers, he's going to have NPCs with who he can speak and form relationships. However, during Season of Skulls event, Kenny may be surprised to see many of his NPCs have disappeared, leaving behind silent ghostly apparitions. Upon hearing about Anthem's Halloween event, Todd Howard expressed concern that BioWare's seasonal update could lure Bethesda's Fallout 76 player away.
Yes.
They're doing
yes.
what? Howard said, "Fuck, guys, we need a Halloween event for Ron, and we need it yesterday."
For Ron.
It's like the fact that they gave the two people like names that were just like a basic basic names. It's so funny to me. But like as much as we all meme about Anthem and stuff, like man, that was a fun game. And
It could.
Yeah.
Look, Anthem could be worse. It literally could be Fallout 76.
Hey, did we talk about
Yeah.
Fallout 76 last week?
I don't want
I
to.
don't know if we talked about the whole. We're gonna sell
Fallout
the
first.
the private server thing that probably should have been free for everybody.
You know what's great?
Private server thing that was said it would be free.
Okay.
And on top of that, it's not even private. If someone's on your friends list, they can join your game
And they also
without permission.
they also give you an unlimited scrap box that just deletes items when you put into it.
Yes.
Yep.
It's a
That was
fucking
hilarious.
disaster.
They tried to live off of Fallout New Vegas nostalgia on the same week that Outer Worlds was coming out.
Yep.
Which is developed by Obsidian. So a little bit of garbage there.
Yeah, they timed their announcement for when Outer Worlds was coming out. It's like, wow, you like really?
It's very clearly petty, and they obviously don't know how to speak to their fans.
Like it's been blow after it. 76 is so bad it's sunk Bethesda as a studio's reputation.
And the sad thing is too, when Fallout 76 was announced, I was so excited.
Same.
Yeah,
Fallout
most
with
people.
friends is all I want.
Yeah. I love playing Fallout. I love playing survival games with Kaylee.
Yep.
This should have been a home run for me. I played it for like maybe 15 hours before I was just like, I can't play this garbage.
I remember when it was coming out, I was talking to you about it, and you were like, "I don't wanna," but like, it's a thing for me and Kaylee to do. We gotta try it out, right?
Yeah, that was literally it. And
that
then
was the conversation, and you were so like, and I was like, "Dude, you should do it," and you were like, "I gotta." And
Yeah.
you did, and then like 2 weeks later, you were like, "Yeah, no, like it just wasn't worth it."
yeah, I mean,
And it was
that's
so bad
basically
you had to buy 2 copies one for both of you.
Yeah.
Like,
Oof.
yeah. I mean,
just-
that's what I expected, but I still did it because I had to try it. I had to because we don't.
like,
It's,
There was no way to know beforehand with that game, unfortunately.
you couldn't know how. I mean, we had
We-
some betas.
we
had
played the
some
beta.
information.
We played the beta,
Yeah.
and we kind of knew, but yeah.
We didn't. Nobody could have known it would be that aggressively terrible.
Yeah, like it's like okay, maybe they're holding back stuff from the betas.
Yeah, like maybe
Nope.
maybe
Maybe there's something we're not seeing here, but
and then
apparently,
they started being like, then stuff started coming out. It's like, yeah, there's no actual NPCs in the game. It's like, what?
Yeah, which they've been talking about for how long now, and that still hasn't happened.
I don't know, dude. Listen.
All right.
Speaking of companies that sink their reputation with bad games, BlizzCon's this weekend.
okay, so
We already had
BlizzCon has-
what? But
they
this
have a
con already
beta.
happened. Oh no, the announcements and stuff have
Yeah,
happened.
so-
I've been out of the loop. Okay.
now I have a very different take than probably a lot of gamers when it comes to Blizzard. One, I think that their decision to ban the guy and take away the winnings was the correct call. I don't think they should have stepped back on it, and I think they probably should have fired and kept fired the 2 announcers as well. I agree with their initial decision because all these people are under contract, and this is what the contract called for.
I think they needed a punishment. I think the initial one was very heavy-handed.
The initial one is very heavy-handed for a reason. This is the
Yeah.
first issue of this matter they've had, which means the first person, whoever does something like this, gets the worst punishment because it
And
sets the tone.
They did issue an apology at BlizzCon that was pretty
Yes,
much
the very-
we acted too quickly. We didn't, and then we were too slow to respond when people called us out on it,
Yeah. So,
which is very
and
accurate to the situation.
and it's not. And for those wondering, they didn't bury this like apology somewhere. That was
We
literally
shared
the
the first
first
thing
thing
that
they
we
did on the main stage.
The
Was
president
apologize.
of Blizzard came out and said something. And
Yeah.
what's funny too is the president of Blizzard came out and did it, and people were like, "The CEO of Blizzard should have come out and said it." It's like, shut
That's-
the fuck up.
like-
This is one of the highest up executives coming down here and bending over so that you guys can yell at him and ream him for
Yeah,
this
for some-
apology, and you
for
are
something
mad
that-
that it's not the dude that's slightly higher up.
Yeah, and on top of that, quite frankly, most people yelling about this don't give a flying fuck about the actual issue.
Yes.
It's
I'm
outrage
really-
culture to be
yes.
outraged.
And I'm legitimately mad. There was at the WoW panel yesterday, like just before we get into actual BlizzCon stuff, because there's some really cool stuff that I want to talk about.
There's some very neat
obviously have to air
announcements.
the dirty laundry ahead of time. So at the World of Warcraft panel, somebody did first the only acceptable way to do what I would be like the like protest shouting like in the halls, where he asked the question to the panel. The panel was very respectful and kind. He said, "Thank you so much for your time and free Hong Kong," and walked away, and that was it. The announcer was like, "Cool, done," and like nobody said anything else. Nobody mentioned it.
Yeah, here's the thing.
And that's like
What?
even a bit disrespectful. I don't really
Like-
think it was like great because these devs obviously had nothing to do with it. Copper, do you know what happened next?
No, I don't know. I wasn't watching the panel for him.
So
I don't care about WoW.
So I don't either. Last two expansions for WoW I tried playing and I just couldn't get into it, and BFA was not great. So then another like the next person in line came up and they obviously like had a question written down and ready to go. They were trying to read it out. And there was just this fucking kid screaming free Hong Kong, free Hong Kong, free Hong Kong, like in the background, like a total jackass, like interrupting this fan who's trying to ask questions about his favorite game over and over again. And then the announcer's like, "Hey kid, do you have something you want to say?" And the kid walks up, jumps in front of the cameras, says free Hong Kong, and the announcer's like, "Cool, thank you." And it's like the announcer dealt with it spectacularly.
Yeah.
The kid was being a brat, and I cannot believe that he thought that that was a good thing. Luckily, people on the internet are reaming him as well and saying, like, what the fuck is wrong, dude? Like,
that kid's been... They don't like it with that because there's cameras there, but I assure you that kid has been removed from BlizzCon and is banned.
Removed from BlizzCon, and he was handed a 7-day ban from Blizzard, from Battle.net Games.
Yep. Because, look, it's the thing. Here's the thing. If you can't tell me how Hong Kong functions, because for those who are wondering, Hong Kong is not a country. If you can't tell me how it functions in relation to China without having to look it up, shut your goddamn mouth about free Hong Kong. Because you don't understand anything about the issues. Plain and simple.
It is a very weird situation.
It is an extremely complex political issue. If you can't tell me what the protests are about without looking it up, because they're not about freeing Hong Kong from Chinese rule.
No,
That's
it's
not
about
what it is.
An extradition law, and then it expanded beyond that. Like we could go.
No,
we could go into a whole thing about
they've expanded the protests expanded beyond that, but that's where it started
That's
from.
where it
Like
started.
if you can't name these issues about how they relate to one another, how Hong Kong relates to China, and how they interact with one another, and why Hong Kong has its own set of laws and constitution and whatnot, instead of having the Chinese one, you don't get to talk about this because you don't know anything. You can't just say, "Well, they should be free. They should be free." It's not your country.
Educate yourself on the situation before you start making radical claims.
Like, it's not your country. You don't know about the laws. You don't know what their rights are and whatnot. It's extremely difficult issue.
It's also one of the two most complicated political situations, in my opinion. The other being
it is. It really is. It's such a messed up situation.
You know,
it is a very, very difficult situation. It has existed for decades.
I think 30 years now?
Longer.
When did the UK give Hong Kong to China?
Well, the whole thing stems from the fact that the UK controlled Hong Kong
as a port city.
As a port city, as a separate thing from the rest of China, because China let them. And then when they pulled out, it became its own kind of independent city-state. So it's a very strange interaction, but it is quite factually part of a different country. And in the case of large companies like Blizzard, like Apple, like Google, if they want to do business in China, they have to play by Chinese rules and laws.
And China rules kind of suck.
So their contracts are written in such a way to, if someone does something stupid, where they try to embroil the company in a political debate within a foreign country, not just China, but other ones as well. They get slapped based on their contract.
Yep.
That's what happens. And people are mad because, well, his right for free speech. Great. Guess what?
He
Your
doesn't
right to
really
free
have
speech as an American doesn't cover what this kid did. Because
Should it be
Blizzard,
human rights?
shockingly,
Is
is
it
not the government. Free speech covers speech from the government only.
Yeah, that's
And even then, it doesn't stop you from consequences, which is what happened here. It's not that, he wasn't allowed to say what he wanted to say. It's how he went about it, when he went about it, and the fact that Blizzard's like, okay, well, here's your consequences for your action. Because you signed a contract fully well knowing that this would happen.
Now, I'm sure we'll cut part of that down in the when we post it because that was long-winded and fun. But now that we've gotten that out of the way,
Blizzard has some very interesting things on show.
So let's get the one that we don't care about out of the way. Shadowlands for World of Warcraft, new expansion. Everybody's excited.
They are amazing cinematic, I will say.
Very well done. Makes little to no sense with the actual lore of the game, which I love.
I have no idea how she's able to break the Witch King's crown because it's like, shouldn't that kind of be?
Is why did breaking the Lich King's crown? Why did that open the portal to open the realm between the Shadowlands and the?
I don't know, and because if they're always pushing the fact that there always has to be a Lich King, there always has to be a Lich King.
Lich King was established like 40 years ago. Like,
I was gonna say, like, but the first guy,
I don't know any of this.
It's I'm sure they'll have some way to explain it and it'll make sense, but like, it just looking at it now, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it WoW can get really it's interesting, but it can be really weird and kind of like double back on itself in strange places. So yeah, new WoW coming out. Hopefully it's better than the last one, because everything I've heard from everybody about BFA was that fact it was disappointing.
It felt like you were doing a lot and getting no rewards, and it was just, quote, the treadmill of battle for Azeroth is what it was called by like Asmongold and stuff.
The most interesting thing people have picked up on or have been talking about that I saw, not only is the whole, aside from the setting thing that you're going to the Shadowlands, is the fact of doing a level squish.
Yes. That's super good.
So, which is always interesting, and people are curious about how that's going to work out and how that's going to affect leveling. Like, is it going to be more like Classic, where it's longer to level up those 10 levels? Or is it going to be, like current, where it's very fast, because then what's the point of the level squish? So we'll see with that. Other than that, we have two other large announcements.
Do you want to go with the one that you want to meme about first, and I'll go with the one I want to meme about?
Let's start with Diablo 4.
Yeah.
So Diablo 4 was announced. Everybody should have known this was coming. They are going back to the much darker tone that you saw in like Diablo and Diablo 2, which is great. They're very much leaning on the horror thing. The cinematic was brutal as all hell.
I didn't watch it.
Don't watch it if you don't like gore and stuff.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of blood.
All I've seen is the gameplay trailer.
They quite literally form a portal out of like
bones,
some people's blood, like blood that flows out of them forms this portal. It is really much worth watching. But yeah, so they announced that, they showed it off. Looks like our new big bad is going to be Lilith. For those who are not up on Diablo lore, Lilith is one of the original creators of Sanctuary. Sanctuary being the world that everybody lives in. So she is the daughter of
Sanctuary was the spot on the moon where Eris is.
No.
I thought Sanctuary was the ship in Borderlands.
Nope. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's Sanctuary 2, isn't it?
Actually, it's Sanctuary 3.
Is it Sanctuary 3? Oh yeah, we don't talk about Sanctuary 2. We don't talk about Sanctuary 2. That's what it is.
Okay.
Sorry. So yeah, so Lilith is coming, and that's going to be a problem because she is technically very much a demon, especially now that the other lords are all dead. She's pretty much the top one, and now she's on the world that she helped create. Gameplay wise, we got to see 3 different classes. All of them look interesting. And interestingly enough, they are not only are we going to have the normal Diablo stuff, but in the open, there's going to be an open world that is literally open world. So kind of MMO like.
I was
where you
told
can-
MMO-esque. Seth
Yep.
was very excited and wanted to talk
Yes.
about it a lot.
So there are open areas in the world where people from everywhere can kind of come around and fight stuff. And there are world bosses. There is open PvP in areas. So be aware of that as well. People can gank you.
Is that going to be an
They apparently-
opt-out kind of thing? Because I don't.
Probably,
Okay.
I would say so.
Almost guarantee it. I don't see a reason for them to push you to do that, and I've played relatively
Yes.
solo through most of Diablo.
More than likely, they're going to have a PvP server and a non-PvP server.
Okay.
Or
I think
areas
they'll
that are
even give
marked
you
as PvP
options
kind of thing.
to
So
opt
there'll be some way to opt out of it. Blizzard's always been very good about that, so I'm not concerned with them doing it.
until it was
there
always
are-
online with Diablo 3. Never forget.
Yeah. There are world bosses as well that people can come in and take part in. Apparently, they have one on the floor at BlizzCon right now.
I
One of the things you
saw
can
it.
do is play the against the first world boss.
I saw a couple people
Mm-hmm.
that I knew at BlizzCon tweeting about it, and they died a lot. They
Yes.
didn't.
So
They did not succeed. They had a very hard time fighting the boss. So
yeah, so it's interesting. Like it has actual like like MMO raid bossing mechanics apparently. So I'm super excited about Diablo 4. Diablo 3 is great. Eventually, it launched kind of rocky, but I don't think they're going to repeat the same mistakes.
yeah, hopefully.
So that's going to be interesting. Like I'm super looking forward to that. I hope there is controller support on PC.
There will be.
'cause-
That Goth was talking about that being confirmed today.
Cool,
Really?
'cause,
At least I'm pretty sure he did. He definitely, yes.
Because Diablo is, for anybody who's never played it with a controller, incredibly good on controller. for
I played it on
Diablo 3.
PS4 before I played it on PC, and it's a lot better on controller.
Yeah, it's surprising how good it is on.
Well, actually, no, I never
haven't had
played
the
Diablo.
opportunity to play it like that,
I've never played
because they
Diablo.
haven't bought it on console.
And our other big announcement that was kind of leaked.
Kind of just a
was-
little bit leaked. Overwatch 2 was announced, and it's the more information that comes out, the more confused I am, but also the more excited I am.
So they're doing something very different and kind of odd in terms of the general scale of how things are done in the industry. Normally, when an FPS game gets a sequel, what they do is they stop supporting the previous one and
Oh, like
have
Call of
everybody
Duty.
move over to the next one.
Yes.
That's the standard practice. It's also pretty much standard practice to have a new version come out every 1 to 2 years. It's now been about 4 years since Overwatch has been out.
Assuming
don't
Overwatch 2 comes out in May, which sounds about right.
Yeah, we don't have a release date yet for Overwatch 2, so
Yeah.
it's going to be at least 4 years before the next one. Like 2 has actually officially launched. It might even be 5. It might be like 2021 May where it comes out.
The only reason I'll get to why I think it's coming out a lot sooner.
I think
than
it's
that.
sooner than later because it does look very polished currently.
It looks polished, and so yeah. So usually they stop supporting stuff. This one is
They're
they-
continuing support in a very strange way. Like they're continuing support in a way that
saying
people playing Overwatch 2 can play with people playing Overwatch 1 in multiplayer still.
So
which
the
is-
way that they're saying is that everybody will get the engine upgrades regardless.
Yes. Yeah,
So
everybody's
everybody
getting the engine
will
upgrade.
get Overwatch 2, but if you don't purchase Overwatch 2, you don't get the
You don't get the story content, so the
Story content.
campaign, and you don't get the hero missions, which are basically, if you've ever played like
Diablo Adventure
Diablo,
Mode.
yeah, Adventure Mode Diablo, which is cool because that's actually a really fun mode. That also includes the character upgrades that you can,
Yeah.
get playing those.
So for someone who loves Overwatch and my biggest complaint has always been that they have this really cool world with this immersive story, and they could definitely have amazing PvE. And every time they've thrown a PvE event, it's been hilariously good.
Yep. They've always been
the
overwhelmed.
biggest issue has always been that there's been no campaign for this incredible story that they obviously want to tell, and there's been no PVE content, and it's had a massive. They've had the ability, in my eyes, to do it for a while, and so apparently, what I've heard was one of the big reasons for all of the engine upgrades was so that they could support a full campaign and story mission.
Yeah. So their original engine for Overwatch couldn't support a full campaign system.
Which is why, if you look at the PVE events, no matter how fun they are, they're pretty
small.
AI light.
Yeah.
It's a lot of just remodeled characters using the AI from like the PvP stuff. So versus if you're in like Destiny or Call of Duty, the AI is a lot more erratic and acts a lot more different.
Yeah. So this should allow that. So yes, we're gonna get a full story mode in that if you purchase
Very
two.
excited about it.
Now people complain. I've seen a lot of people say, "Well, that shouldn't be $60." Well, the original Overwatch
Was
wasn't
$40.
wasn't $60, so I don't expect this to be either. They're also allowing you to
Actually,
get to,
no. Overwatch
on console.
was
It is on console.
yes, but
But
was
that's
a
whole-
huge that's a huge fucking asterisk. Okay.
it is, but that's not so much them as stuff you have to deal with when you put games on console.
There are plenty
Um,
of games that come out on console that are not $60. I don't understand.
Name 3 AAA titles that have come out that aren't $60.
Okay.
If it's a AAA title, it goes for 60. That's pretty much how
Yeah.
it is.
It's part of it is the fact that they have to deal with PlayStation and Microsoft. Part of it is the fact they then have to cover the cost of printing games, because console games you can't just offer digitally.
Mhm. But
Not when they're
fortunate-
AAAs,
But they
unfortunately.
did do the thing where you get Overwatch for $40. You don't get the same content as you get Overwatch for $60, but they offered the $60 edition as well on PC.
Yeah, they
So that
threw
way
in.
they can cover their costs on console.
Yeah.
And because they are their own distributor on PC, so they don't have to eat up any of those costs at all. It's relatively free.
And Blizzard doesn't like to eat. Well, I should say Activision doesn't like to eat costs from anywhere. So if something costs them extra money to produce, that cost will be passed on to consumers. 100%.
Yeah,
And
pretty much.
that's why we have additional costs, which I don't like it. I
but-
have Overwatch on console. I actually have it twice because I have it for myself and the girlfriend.
Mhm.
So yes, it sucks, but I paid it. You know, what can you do? It's the cost of console gaming. They tend to be more expensive than PC gaming.
Yep. I, for one, am really excited. They released a kick-ass cinematic with it that actually shows progression in the story for the first time in 4 years. Holy shit.
Yes. More than that,
Um,
because we're getting a story mode now, they're going to be able to push the story forward faster, which is
Yes.
interesting.
And for example, my girlfriend, who is a big fan of Overwatch, has been complaining for a long time that there has been no Zenyatta lore. I didn't even know that was an issue.
Yes,
But they showed him in the trailer, so now I'm excited for that.
they did. I want one of the new characters that are coming out to be Canadian.
No.
They have to be. They have
no.
to be.
Canadians are
finally
never
have
violent.
We finally
Stop.
have a map, so more than likely one of them is going to be.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I'd be
mean,
curious to see. Like,
they're-
we know 2 characters for sure. So they have announced that with Overwatch's 2's release, multiple new characters are going to be released at the same time, which is interesting. It also means that we're probably not getting a new character in Overwatch itself until this happens, which is another clue that it's sooner than later.
Yeah.
We know 2 for
another
sure.
reason.
One being Echo, because she's shown in the cinematic and has been teased previously during another cinematic.
The Ash McCree cinematic.
Yep. And the other one being Sojourn, who's been teased in visual images and was shown directly in the cinematics, and was mentioned being that she's going to be in the game.
Yes. She was
Aside from that,
gameplay trailers and stuff.
yeah. So aside from that, we don't know how many more people are in the game. We don't know if they're on Talon's side. We don't know if they're on Overwatch's side. It is very interesting to note who the actual members of active Overwatch, the new active Overwatch, are, because it does not include Pharah. It does not include Lucio. It does not include Soldier 76 or Ana. So Overwatch itself is very much smaller than previously.
Well, it's interesting. So, a lot of the characters in Overwatch's lore and story were never actual members of Overwatch
Correct.
or Talon. So, like Lucio, for example, was never part of Overwatch, was never
Nope.
part of Talon, but he was a freedom fighter in Brazil.
Yes, and that's going to
Uh,
be showcased in the story. It looks like too, from what they
Exactly.
showed.
And he teams up with Overwatch from what we can see.
Yep.
So, uh, which, so that stuff, like Farah and Soldier and Anna, like they are not a part of Overwatch right now, but were in the past. It looks like the only people that really came back were Mercy, uh, Reinhardt.
So
I'm trying to
Reinhardt,
think.
uh,
Reinhardt, Mercy, Tracer, Winston.
yeah, Reinhardt, Brigitte came back. Tracer came back.
Brigitte was
Winston
a
came back.
fucking child when Overwatch was active, so she was never an actual part of it.
Yes, but she came with them.
She did come with Reinhardt, which I thought that was an amazing entrance. Also, if you look at the license plate on the truck, it says "Rally to Me,"
Nice.
which is what Brigitte says when she activates her ult.
May is there, of course.
Genji came back.
Genji came back.
Mhm.
So those are our current members, which means Zenyatta was never a member, but Genji's connected to him.
Yes.
We don't know where Genji's brother is and what he's doing.
Wait.
Like,
We don't know where
okay.
McCree is,
Yeah, we don't know where McCree is, but Echo shows up.
which is interesting.
So
because McCree woke up Echo and was like, "Overwatch needs your help. Go help them out." And then he's off on his own shit.
yeah, it's like they called me back, but what they really need is you. So now it could be that she simply flew ahead.
I think he's trying to hunt down Reaper.
But I think he might be trying to hunt down Reaper, recognizing Reaper as, his old team leader.
Welcome to the Overwatch Lorecast. I have no idea what's going on.
Overwatch lore is extremely interesting, but they don't give us anything.
I don't know it though at all.
It takes forever for them to squeeze stuff out. So that's one of the main things to be interested about in Overwatch 2 is the fact that there's going to be a giant lore dump from the campaign.
Which is why I'm really excited.
Okay, how long do we expect this campaign to be in reality?
So they have,
I'm gonna say 8 missions.
That doesn't sound
They've
like
said
a lot.
They've said there's one mission per map at least.
Okay,
and
that's a lot.
And they're adding 4 new maps at least in Overwatch 2.
Yeah, that's quite a few. That's actually quite a few.
Yeah.
They did show some images of new maps and stuff. So
yes,
I'm excited.
and they there is direct gameplay of the first mission in Overwatch 2 and the new mode push.
Which is literally Bomb from Team Fortress 2. So just leaning in on that.
Yeah, there are currently
not a bad thing.
17 maps, so if they add 4 more in, that's 21. So if you get 21 missions in a story mode, that's really good.
That's a lore dump.
Like as Vlad says, Taking King, which is regarded as a giant story push from Bungie for Destiny, only had 8. Right? So
yeah, but to be fair, Taken King, the Taken War happened after that.
Yes. But 21 missions in a campaign,
quests.
that's a pretty decent campaign.
Yeah,
especially since it's not
14,
just
Borderlands 3 had 23.
Yeah, so that's a really big campaign. Plus, all the multiplayer modes, the new multiplayer mode coming in, and the adventure mode in there. So that's a good chunk.
And I'm sure that there will be new maps added as well, probably.
Of course.
Yeah, probably more than the 4 they said. So, and again, it's Overwatch. Stuff's probably going to be, the same way it was with 1, where it's free map updates, free character updates, free events.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a full, if it's a 21 mission campaign, that's a full single player game.
Yeah. And also, to be fair, they don't have to eat a lot of the costs with the developing maps and characters because they've already done it. But I said this before because a lot of people were bitching. It's like, I don't want to pay that much. I was like, do you know how much it costs to upgrade an engine in a game?
It's
a lot.
expensive.
Holy
Yeah.
crap, man!
Especially when they're doing it for free for everybody who has Overwatch 1. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this isn't so much a money grab as saying, "Hey, here's this full single player experience you can get, but it's going to cost you because we can't give this to you for free because it's too expensive." Sorry.
I will admit, I went in with extremely low expectations because after last year's BlizzCon, where they kind of just did nothing, but
Nothing.
screw
Yeah,
over
last
their
year was
fans,
oof.
my opinion of Blizzard was pretty low. Uh, and I thought that Overwatch 2 being announced was going to be a cash grab and nonsense. They 100% flipped my mind on that.
Yeah,
And
it really doesn't look like a cash grab. It really looks like we've spent time building this single player experience you guys been asking for. It took a few years. Here it is, but we need to charge you for it.
yeah, which makes sense. Like people will always ask for stuff for free, and they
Well,
devs
part
deserve to get paid regardless of how much money you have in your wallet. If that means
and
you can't afford it right now, then don't buy it right now.
yeah, and part of the issue with Overwatch is because everything has been free up to this point after your initial buy-in,
Mhm.
it has built kind of a mindset for some Overwatch fans that everything Overwatch related Blizzard produces should be free.
It's conditioning, and it's not the good type of conditioning.
Yeah.
And like, let's also say that has happened a lot in Destiny recently because people are terrible. Like,
I've seen some people's like, why would I want to get the new expansion? They're just reusing content because it's on the moon again. It's like the moon's not the same.
I have gone over this so many times.
Like,
They had to port the entire moon into a new engine, retexture everything, relight everything, figure out how they remodeled half the moon. If you look at it, it's very different.
Hmm.
They added a bunch of content to it as well, such as the lost sectors and new areas. Like,
then
guys,
there's the
stop.
new like they had to code in the public events for the moon. There's
Yep.
the new public event. There's the Vex offensive on the like that's linked to the moon. Like there's the new raid. Like there's so much new stuff. Like it's
Listen,
worth the
once
money.
you have a palette, it's much easier to build out, but it doesn't make it simple.
No.
Right.
Like,
And the worst part is people saying he keeps saying it's like, well, I want to go back to the moon. I want to go back to the Dreadnought. I want to go back to Venus.
and then they
Right.
get it and they
Yeah.
complain.
And then they get it and they're like, well, why are we back here? They're just recycling content. It's like,
Now,
it's not the same
granted,
goddamn
that's
content.
usu-
These aren't the
it's
same missions we
usually-
had before.
It's usually two different people.
Yes. Now,
but
if-
it's one community, so it's
Yeah.
an issue.
If they had just put the moon back and said, here's all the same, missions on the moon we had from D1, where I'm going to charge you $40 for it, I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
But, when it's all new stuff, I still want the D1 stuff in D2. Like, I'd love
So
them
do
to
I.
kind of port everything in.
I
just have
don't
it like a
think
free form kind of
everything,
thing.
But like strikes and raids.
Yeah, the strikes, the raids, the story mission too. I'd like to see the story missions come back so people can run through them who never experienced D1 because
Yeah,
there are
that'd be
people
fun.
who haven't.
Yeah.
Right.
The only issue I have with that is it takes a lot of
It
time and
does.
resources.
It does. I know how much it would take.
And I would much rather have new content.
It's
It's not saying I don't want it. Trust me, I'd fucking kill Oryx again in the D2 engine with new stuff. But like I would rather they prioritize us killing Oryx again from him being revived by the Hive.
Now,
So,
I fully expect at some point we're gonna get more stuff on Earth in
Yes.
the
Oh,
old
yeah,
Cosmodrome
Absolutely.
because
absolutely.
they've rebuilt so many areas of that in D2 now that we have access to that they're not just gonna leave them lying there not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like,
It will have to be the snowy Cosmodrome, the Snowmodrome, because you did the risk reward mission, right?
yeah, I've done the Risk Runner mission.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is in the past.
Yeah.
If the wall isn't destroyed, all of that stuff. So it's actually not conceivable to use those areas unless they were to break canon, which they've only done with Curse of Osiris. So let's hope they don't do it again.
Well, the interesting thing is that mission takes place after Kate's dead.
You're right. You're right.
So
it's the old Cosmodrome, but they don't have the updated areas because it doesn't go far enough, I guess.
yeah, it's very odd lore wise because technically that wall has been destroyed due to Siva, well, it's still there. So
Only part of the wall was destroyed.
yeah, so it is conceivable that someone rebuilt it, but it doesn't look like it. So
Yeah.
it's still
Yeah.
fun. I'd love them to see it come back. I'd love the new stuff to come back in. Like, I hope they move to a model that is somewhat similar to Warframe, whereas everything they've ever made is available, but not all of it matters.
What do you mean
Because
by
that way, well, with Warframe, it matters if you're leveling up. But let's say you get into Warframe, you start playing some other stuff, and then you start going through the story. It's not super challenging because it's not really on level with you anymore. Whereas if they do that with Destiny, sure, that's fine. Like, they kind of do it now anyways. Like, if I was to start a new character who, as soon as I do the first light mission, hit the tower, I'm 750.
Yeah.
If I turn around and go do, say, the Red War, I'm at max power for the Red War.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that.
Right? It allows you to experience the story, which is great. But it's also
But
not.
it doesn't give you the same leveling experience and stuff.
Yeah, it's
Right.
completely gone. There's no
Like,
leveling
there
experience.
should be like a toggle switch or something here.
Yeah, so I hope they figured that out somehow, because if they bring old stuff from deep back, it's going to be done in the same way, right? The story is going to be there. You can play through it, but you're going to be 750 when you start it, right? So
Minimum.
a lot of this stuff is like, you're going to be top level for this stuff. So like the game does cap out how much damage you do and what your damage reduction is, but it's such that you're not going to be in a huge threat from most things.
Yeah,
running
nothing's
through.
gonna be able to really hurt you at all.
No. Not unless you're playing stupid, or if there's like massive modifiers on
Right.
that are like, like Blackout. If it's Blackout with, say, arc damage and there's a bunch of thrall, sure, they'll still be able to one-shot you. But unless that's the case, nothing's really going to hurt. So I hope they figure that out. There's an interesting balance to be found there. But everything they've done so far with Destiny, with the changes since they've become their own guys, and with Shadowkeep, there's nothing really too much to complain about. Like, it's well done. Like, good job, Bungie.
It's been very good. Yeah.
I hope they fix the xenophage soon, because that is currently bugged. Yeah. As Vlad says, D1 capped at 400 light. We're now at 960. So I think they're going to have to go the Blizzard route and do a power squish at some point, because you're going to have someone hit like 1,000 power. Like, it's going to happen this season.
Oh, for sure.
With the the artifact allowing unlimited power leveling, I would like to see a level switch happen where things get reset so the numbers aren't so nutty. Yeah, see, that person's striving for the 999 to turn the solo thing to see if anything happens, which it probably won't, but yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah. So, did we want to revisit
Oh no.
Faragon this week? Yeah.
I know.
Yep.
Well, I didn't have a chance to talk to Kai about Evangelion because this weekend was also Fef and Kai's wedding.
Right.
So they are not currently available. And congratulations to them as well on their wedding. So yeah, for a show for next week, there is the cursed show that Dale mentioned.
Look, we should just do it. Let's just get it done.
I know.
Let's just do it.
They're on episode 5 too.
Yes. I think that would be something we should just do.
Have we ever looked at Sword Art? As a question.
Stop. I'm sick of isekais. We've had so many conversations about no more isekais.
I know. I don't want to do Sword Art. I'm saying
I don't want to do it ever. Like, there's already so many people talk about Sword Art. I just don't give a shit. It's gonna be another one of those, like, fuck, what is it? My Hero, where everybody's like, oh my God, it's so fucking good. And I'm just like, I don't care. It's still an anime. It still does all the anime shit that I just dislike. So it's still not something I like.
The show I keep hearing everybody say is so good is Beastars.
Never
Season.
heard of it.
It's a world populated by anthropomorphic animals. So yeah.
So like Animorphs?
More like if furries were real.
Oh, okay. Makes better sense.
I think furries are very real.
I mean, real animals.
Oh. Okay. That's a bit more
Weird.
festive.
Yeah. It's labeled as a drama, psychological, shonen slice of life, which is a weird set of labels. Like when you combine them
Very
together.
weird set of labels.
Because two of these go together, and then like drama and slice of life would go together, but shonen doesn't fit like drama or slice of life. Like, it's a very strange thing.
It's a thing.
So
Hey, you know what? If they're into it.
Yeah.
All right. So
Let's come back
Comfy,
into- What's the conversation?
we were talking what to watch next week, and I think we should just get Fairy Gone
Dale
out of
is
the way.
suggesting we torture ourselves and rip the Band-Aid off and watch the first 3 episodes of the second season of Fairy Gone.
Well, you only live once.
There you go.
So for those listening, we're gonna watch this show and directly compare it to, Vinland Saga and its first season, and let's see if they've done anything to improve anything in this show.
We'll see. Do they have a third season? I know that we've talked about.
Oh fuck! I hope not.
Okay.
I haven't even watched.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm just curious. I wouldn't care to watch. I wouldn't care to watch a third season if the second season isn't good. But
I don't expect the second.
Really like.
There's the thing. I don't expect it to be good, and I don't expect it to be bad. I just expect it to be.
Nothing else like really important happened this week, right? Like nothing of value.
Well, there's Goth. If you wanted to talk about that,
we mentioned Goth last week.
Yeah,
we did talk about that.
Goth moved to Mixer this week. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice. It's been nice to see.
I found my new niche with streaming from 9 p.m. at night to fuck you in the morning.
Yeah. With the Beat Saber. That was fun. Comfy dressed up as Nezuko did doing Beat Saber. It was pretty entertaining. I got to catch some of it.
Cool for Halloween, right? No.
Aside from Dale's wedding, no.
Yeah.
Yes. We had a cool.
That happened.
We had a cool Halloween wedding. I was wearing
That's what I was trying to allude to the entire time.
I know. We
beat around the bush.
We dressed up for Halloween, got married, and then we had
a wedding ring. Chat.
Cute.
I am wearing.
For anybody's watching who can see Dale's hand, he's wearing a ring.
And
finally,
he's taken, ladies.
Yes, and then the next day.
Do you have to take that, Dale? I know you work with your hands. Do you have to take that off at work?
I should, because I've already dinged it up a couple times, so probably.
Is it magnetic?
Should. No, it's just gold.
Okay.
It was actually my grandpa's wedding ring that my grandma gave me, so it's pretty old.
Yeah, because the way I know my dad got around, like taking his off, was he put it on a chain. He had to.
No, I don't. I don't do enough that it's like a huge fucking issue. Like I'm not putting my hand inside moving parts or anything because I make the things that eventually move. But yeah. So I mean, it's not an issue if I wear my wedding ring. Mine is it kind of gets dinged, and I think I am going to put it in a safe to not worry about it.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, the costume we did were pretty cool. There's photos on my Twitter, and
they're awesome. Everybody should look at them.
Yeah, they're really cool. Copper still thinks I don't have enough fucking candy. I have. How big is this thing?
I don't have any candy. So.
I have this full of candy. It's quite large, and then some. And then
there's
some.
There's also like a reusable shopping bag full.
That's the end. Then
go
some.
Get some candy too.
Yeah, it's a ton.
Now November, so everything goes on sale, which is great.
Yeah, I was gonna run to Walmart before I got my D&D game and see if I could find some Halloween candy.
Yes, we literally went to Walmart that Friday while we were doing some last minute running for the wedding party, which it is exhausting to get married and then have to do all of the like running for catering, decorating, all yourself. We were going to try to do face paint for me as well because Kaylee has a really good skeleton face paint done. We tried to do mine. We literally left 20 minutes before we had to go pick up the catering because we ran out of time. We gave up. She, as a last minute effort, she tried to do like a really heavy guy liner on me. I couldn't stop crying because she's basically poking me in the eye with the mascara stick, and I'm not used to it. So I couldn't stop blinking, and my eyes kept watering.
Not feel good.
And she gave up. So I had like teary mascara, which was my makeup, and that was all I had, which was like, it was an effort. But
like, look at his joy. Oh wait,
right.
Do some like on stage
But no,
acting,
it
and
was-
we had to wear mascara and eyeliner, and man, that was my least favorite thing to ever do.
But yeah,
I mean,
it
if
was
you're
fun.
not used to like makeup, it's gonna bother you.
Oh,
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
like the eyeliner because it has to get so in your eyes.
Yeah.
Like for lack of a better term, like you have to be like right in there, and if you blink, it's worse. And
Yeah, she failed. She
everything
kept
you
yelling at
try to
me.
do
I
to make
couldn't.
it better makes it harder.
I could not hold still. And then, but like everybody that was there had such a great time. They were excited to go to a Halloween party for a wedding. They're like, this is super fun and unique, and thank you for they were really excited
I
to
thought
be
it
there.
was all really cute.
They was really fun. Like, we didn't have like a traditional wedding cake. We didn't have traditional fucking anything. We had Chipotle burritos, Panda Express, and Olive Garden and Subway.
Now I'm gonna
and-
go get Chipotle after this.
I have a burrito left in my fridge that I'm gonna have for dinner. It's the final burrito. It's the final wedding burrito. But no, it was really cool. People liked it. We had like 3 smaller cakes instead of 1 big wedding cake. It was fun. The huge candy bar. It was really fun. Had a good time.
Nice.
Was fun. Kaylee didn't run away.
Not yet.
Not yet. So that's good. But yeah.
I love that you guys did the whole Halloween themed wedding and the
Yeah.
costume party for your
Yeah.
reception.
It was kind of a
Uh,
bummer that my friend, like my one actual friend, couldn't make it, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I do live all the way over in Phoenix though.
Yeah. Well, like I met, you know what I meant, like my one IRL friend.
Yeah.
Besides my, I would love to if some of my internet friends could have came, but you know.
I would have absolutely in a
Yeah, if
moment
we
flown over
didn't
if
live-
I had the opportunity.
Yeah, if I didn't live in a different country,
Right.
it would have been more of a
Yes.
doable thing.
He didn't
But-
live in a different country. If I didn't live in a different state, I think I live further away than he does.
I'm
Yeah.
actually not sure.
Maybe.
It's pretty
I don't know.
debatable, actually. Damn.
I think Dale's like in the straight middle of us.
Yeah.
Pretty close to the straight middle, but you know,
Mhm.
it really just depends on how far north you are.
Yeah.
So,
You're in Ohio, right, Dale?
Yeah. Like I am very just beneath Lake Erie,
okay.
if you have any idea where that is.
Well, map does.
Like not lakefront, but I could be lakefront in 20, 25 minutes depending on where I went. But yeah.
You don't have the rich people houses, but you could.
I mean, no, I can't afford a rich people house.
Well, you
But,
could.
I
and
mean, I
still
could be
live in
there.
the same area.
All right.
Yes.
For Lake Erie, are you more towards the Buffalo end or the Toledo end?
Right in the middle.
Right.
Like
Oh,
right,
okay.
like dead, pretty much smack in the middle. Like I live a little bit. Like I'm not super far away from Cedar Point, which is very much middle of Lake Erie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not obviously in the middle of Lake Erie, but like it's located.
Actually,
It's in the
they
middle
live
of
in
the
Atlantis.
shore. There we go.
Okay, so
Oh, wait. I mean, no, I guess it would be much more towards Toledo than I was thinking. Than in the middle. You're right. It's more on the Toledo side.
if I drove, it would take me 25 hours of straight driving to reach you.
Yeah, I understand you didn't want to come.
It
Did you
is.
do that math from Phoenix? Because I'm interested.
It is 1,627 miles.
Damn.
Phoenix,
That's-
Arizona.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of gasoline in your muscle car.
Comfy is 30 hours for you. It's
Yeah.
2,001
Yeah.
mile.
That is
Yeah, he's pretty much in the middle of us.
relatively close.
I'm mad you guys didn't fucking come. Fuck you guys. I thought we were friends.
Listen, I straight up told you if I could afford it, I would 100%
I know.
fly there and become an ordained minister and marry you guys.
That would have been. I don't know what Kaylee would have thought about that, but I'm sure you'd have been welcome at the party.
It would have been really weird for me.
He would have
to be
shown up
wearing a onesie or
He
just
would have
a
shown up in a
Nezuko.
onesie with like the Nezuko like,
No.
gag in and just start doing the ceremony that way.
Nope. That wouldn't have happened. But no, the ceremony itself was 5 minutes. The minister was there for 10 minutes. It was quick and easy. And then we had the reception, which was a good time.
Awesome.
But yeah,
It all looked like a good time.
yeah, it was a good time. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Kaylee says she has no regrets. We'll see. I don't believe her.
No regrets.
No regrets. But anyway, so next week we're gonna be doing the first 3 episodes of season 2 of Fairy Gone. We typically only do the first 3 of a new season of like the first season of a show, but Fairy Gone was the show we used to cover weekly, like we do Vinland Saga now, and we kind of want to check in on it. None of us were impressed whatsoever with it before, so we'll see what season 2 feels like.
I hope they made improvements. Like I feel there could be a really good show here if they made improvements.
I feel like it could be okay. Like there's nothing like inherently bad about it, but then it's just like
know.
it's just
That was
it's-
part of what was so offensive. It's just
Yeah.
there's nothing
it was
bad,
very
there's just
mediocre.
nothing great. Yeah.
All right.
It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't good.
Right. Yeah. Basically.
And you could see where it could be better. And you're like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yup.
What was the girl's name? The weird ass name that they gave her? Marlia?
It was Marlia, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marlia and Free was the
Free.
dude's name, and then some other people. I don't know.
Free me from this torture of watching this show.
Was it Veronica or something like that?
Veronica
Huh?
was the weird. Was the
Oh,
new one.
Veronica was the bitch that never showed back up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
like,
blonde
I'm
chick. that
gone,
was like,
bye.
I'm important to the plot, and then she wasn't.
And then
Right.
disappears. You're like, what happened to this character?
All right, everybody.
I hope episode 1 focuses on her.
Oh my
Yes.
god! I hope
Was it?
at least one episode focuses. On
I
her.
don't know. I have not looked, but I hope she
Ah.
shows back up because
Veronica.
God damn it.
Yeah, that's a.
Okay, I just want to. Who the fuck chases down like a childhood friend from when they were 8?
I don't know, man.
How the fuck do
people
you
on-
even?
people on Facebook.
Well, but like, what makes you even think you have literally anything in common with this random person when you were 8?
I don't know.
Why do you
people are
care?
Weird.
Man.
I don't know. Look,
All right.
the two of you basically grew up in the same place, right?
Sure.
Like when you were growing up, like you didn't really move around. I moved around every like 2 to 2.5 years.
Sure.
I don't know anybody from my childhood.
That's true.
Like, so I don't get the whole, well, we were friends when we were 8 for like 5 years. Like, great, I'm not the same person. Like, fuck off. Like,
I have
kind of
nothing in
thing, so-
common with 8-year-old me.
Yeah.
I would probably punch 8-year-old me for being an asshole.
I'd probably punch 8-year-old you too, just to be an asshole.
Uh-huh.
I would also punch 8-year-old him because I hate 8-year-olds.
True. It's true. All right. Well, where can you find the 8-year-old abusing Comfy on the internet?
Actually, prison, but you can find normal Comfy.
No, we do not. These are jokes. Don't hit kids. Kids are great. As long as I don't have to be the one in charge
One
of them.
rule: I don't kill kids. Rule is negotiable if that kid is a dick.
Or trying to kill you, I suppose.
Listen, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, great show. You can find me, mixer.com/Comfimus, Twitter at Comfimus, Instagram at Comfimus, and the place. Then you can also find all my cool Nezuko memes that I posted on Twitter at midnight last night so that nobody would see them. Yeah, you're welcome. And if you're wondering who made that cool intro outro thing for me that I just cut together, it was actually Copper, and you can find him where?
You can find me at Copperline Art and Copperline Designs on Twitter and Instagram, or just copperlinedesigns.com. Dale?
You know who else
you
makes
can-
art for Mr. Vengeance? We're going to find you.
You can find me at mixer.com/MrVengeance on Instagram and the Twitter at _MrVengeance. And if you listen and you are interested in seeing any of the cool wedding photos, they will be on the 2 social medias. Lots of fun. It was pretty cool. But yeah, next week, first 3 episodes of season 2. It's important if you follow along. Season 2 of Fairy Gone. I don't know why I watched how many episodes of the show and I forget the name of it. That's how little we thought.
12 episodes. It is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
It's
Yep.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
mind.
Maybe maybe it'll be good. We'll see. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
It's gonna